special 2 days ahead of us right now. Again, the Shift 2023, not your average developers conference at all. Very, very different indeed. It's all about insights. It's all about sharing knowledge. It's all about those conversations that you have here that hopefully one day will turn into more conversations and then obviously more better business as well. So certainly lots and lots of things to look forward to. Again, those who are curious minds, those who are here again to learn about something different that maybe can help them really make sense of really where you are at the moment in terms of your career, in terms of the business that you do, but more importantly, making sense of really where you're moving forward and beyond. Right, ladies and gentlemen, before we begin, those of you that have been to Shift in the past, you will know that we do something in the morning before we begin that's a little bit different. We usually do what's called the Mexican wave. Now, if you don't know what the Mexican wave is, it's very simply a wave. Hands go up, go across, all the way round, and we keep going. And it looks good, it feels good. Well, I think it looks good. Some of you may not agree, but I think it does. But this time, we're gonna do it in the dark. So I need your help. I need you to get your mobile phones out, put your lights on your mobile phones. Put the lights on your mobile phones. It's okay, take your time. Lights on your mobile phones, fantastic, absolutely. Absolutely. Clearly, people haven't got mobile phones. Some of them. Right, are we ready? So we'll start here. We'll start here with Stipe, and we'll go round and we'll end with Ante. Right? So you're not really Stipe, are you? No, you are Stipe. No, you're not. You're not Ante. You're Ante. Okay, right. Anyway, we start here and we go all the way around. Are you ready? Yes, you are. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Mexican wave right here. INFOBIP Shift 2023. 3, 2, 1, go. Can't do it again. Go. I don't know what to stop. Keep it up. Just go. Stop. Let me pass the gun. That's it. Let's go. Keep going. Still going. Yeah, look. Still going. Big last few. 1 or 2 left. Back to Anthony's. There we are. Back where it started. Right, ladies and gentlemen, well done. That was our Mexican wave in the dark. Ante and Steve are clapping for themselves. Wonderful. Ladies and gentlemen, we move on now to the first part of this opening ceremony. Just quickly, before we go any further, I'll quickly introduce myself. My name is Peter Hopwood. I'm a storytelling, pitch, and executive speaker coach. So I help people stand on stages just like this one and share stories. And we are about to, over these next few days, really uncover stories, vision stories of the past and clearly the future as well. So certainly lots to look forward to. Let's have a look more at some of the numbers and some of really what this event really represents. The largest developer conference in Southeast Europe. There we are, 2 days, more than 90 speakers, more than 100 sessions. We've got fireside chats, we've got panel discussions, we've got lots and lots of conversations, more than 30 countries represented here, and more than 600 companies as well. So really, what does that mean? That kind of means that you never kind of know who's next to you. This could actually be a turning point. A conversation with someone here from another company could actually lead to more business, or it actually could lead to you and your career going in another direction as well. Let's move on now to the different stages. As you can see, we've got 7 different stages here. Remember, this stage here, a little bit later on this afternoon, gets divided up into 3 parts, almost like a pizza, right? Different parts of a pizza. We've got the DevX stage, optimized stage, and the web stage as well. Remember, we have a fantastic startup stage here as well with great startups, great pitching ideas. And remember tomorrow, the competition, at the end of the competition, we'll find out the winners of the startup pitching competitions right here on the main stage as well. We move on to our venue highlights. There we are, some of the ideas, some of the things that are unfolding at Shift over the next couple of days. And remember, just picking out a couple of those, Raiffeisen Bank, together with INFOBIP as well, together have created quite a special campaign indeed. You'll find they've actually created an idea that actually is all about Lego. So simply, we are creating an enormous, a gigantic Lego construction. So every block that you place, Raiffeisen Bank will donate €1. Every block that you place, INFOBIP will donate €1 as well. And so together, with your help, together we can create something special and provide all this support for an autism charity right here in Zadar. We move on. Engage, share, and network. Remember our hashtag. This is an event that doesn't happen all the time, once a year. So remember, we have two hashtags: Shift Your World, hashtag Shift Your World, and also naturally INFOBIP Shift, INFOBIP Shift. So you see something, you hear something, you like something, you want to share it within your network, wherever they are in the world, please do that. So a little piece of really what happens here gets shared out across the world. Also, you'll notice my co-host right now is this duck, Mr. Duck, and that's right. And if you've been to INFOBIP Shift before, this has really become the kind of logo, the emblem, the representative of this event. Now, so far over the last 3 events, I believe, these ducks are now, there are many of them across the world. We've got them in Colombia, we've got them in Mexico, we've got them in different parts of Asia. We've even got one in Sveti Petroshumi. And the thing is, with these, you can actually, if you want to, you can walk, you can actually walk away with one of these. All you have to do is a competition. All you have to do is take a picture with one of these ducks. I believe there are 9 ducks all the way around the venue. Just take a picture, you, your team, whoever it is, take a picture, hashtag as well on Twitter or Instagram. And at the end of the 2 days, we will decide, well, I won't decide, the jury here will decide who walks away a winner of one of these. You come to the stage, take your duck and take it back to wherever you're from. Sounds good? Certainly does. Right, let's move on to our next slide. Remember, any great conference, any great event wouldn't be complete, certainly would not be complete right here without our infamous, our well anticipated after party. So remember, we've got 2 going on. One tonight at Beach Bar Bamboo, starting at 9. Tomorrow, Bar Court, again, starting at 9 as well. And remember, we also have, for those who want to use Uber to get to the parties and get to the venue, UberX Shift 2023 is the Uber code as well. Please, I doubt this is actually for when you go home. So if you're going back to Osijek, if you're going back over the border, I'm not sure whether this code will help you get a try it. Let me know. Try it. Put the hashtag Shift Your World and let's see what happens. Right, let's move on. Again, putting an event together. Those of you who are in events, and I know a lot of you are, and I know a lot of you have experienced this event many, many times. You know, it's not easy to put together. It takes time, it takes effort, and it takes help and collaboration. So without saying too much, we really do have to say thank you to all our partners, sponsors, and friends who make sure that this event stays relevant, this event moves forward, and is the event that you see today. Let's move on to our next slide. There we are, mobile app. Remember, everything you need to know about what's going to happen the next 2 days here is on the mobile app. At the back of your badge, if you haven't downloaded the app already, the back of your badge, QR code, download that there. Absolutely everything is there. The schedule, the speakers, networking, and again, make sure 2 days. You think maybe we'll pass time quite quickly, but let me tell you, 2 days can go past very, very quickly indeed. So make sure you make the most of it and it's all relevant for you and you don't miss anything at all. Right, we move on to our next slide. There we are. And also, really, the real heroes of this event really have to be the volunteers, the people that give up their time, they give up their effort, they give up their expertise in coming here in really helping you. So you have a question, you're not sure about something, you need to find something, please see them, please talk to them, and they will certainly help you in every way they actually can. Right, ladies and gentlemen, enough from me. All that leaves me now to say is to welcome our head of events, Mirna Opos.
Hi all. If you're a shift veteran over here, you're probably used to seeing a different face kickstart this conference over here. But due to some very exciting life changes, our shift guru Ivan has passed the torch to me this year. If you're not a shift veteran, you'll want to become one after this conference. Just so you know, this entire conference is orchestrated by a squad of 6 awesome people. So a massive round of applause for them. You rock and I'm so happy that I get to create this shift alongside you. Also, a big salute to all the departments and all the individuals working tirelessly behind the scenes to help us create the experience together. And a big thank you to our volunteers that will help us make this event a reality. So, finally, to all of you attendees, thank you for gracing us with your presence. We've got really fun 2 days ahead of us, full of networking, learning, deepening connections, and having a blast. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome you to the wildest ride of your professional life, Shift 2023. Before I get off the stage, although Ivan has entrusted me with opening the conference, he couldn't resist the urge to climb on the stage and share a few words. So please welcome Ivan Burazin, CEO and co-founder of a new startup Daytona and the original founder of Shift, and Isabel Jelenich, CTO of INFOBIP, to share a few words.
Those are lies. Those are lies. I actually didn't want to come on stage this time, but thank you. He made me. Thank you. Thank you, Mirna. Thank you, Ivan. Welcome, everyone, to INFOBIP Shift 2023. So happy to see you all here. And Ivan, we have Ivan here. So, Ivan, we have seen on those slides the numbers, so many people, so many companies, so many speakers, great events, great parties around. How do you feel now when you compare it? How it was at the start, and how do you feel now once you see what you have achieved?
I feel much better because the first time I did this, right before the opening, I was like pulling up these drapes and climbing up. So now I'm not doing anything. So I feel much better about that. Actually, I'm super proud of and thankful for INFOBIP. So for you that don't know, the conference, we call it INFOBIP Shift because INFOBIP, which Izo co-founded, is one of the largest and probably the best cloud platform provider in the world. So one API for sending SMS, email, voice, whatnot. But they wanted to get into closer to all developers, and they actually acquired the conference that I started. So I've been officially with INFOBIP almost 3 years, so this is my third conference, and it's grown, and I'm happy that we finally expanded to the US, and we'll continue. And we also have some speakers from the US that are here. I think John spoke at Shift Miami earlier this year, and we'll do it next year as well. But I'm taking a back seat now. Me and the rest of the team are pushing forward, but I will be around sort of like in the background a bit, I guess, because you're not letting me go. So yeah, thank you all, and hopefully we'll continue on. Izo, anything else before I introduce someone else on the stage?
I just wanted to make sure. So we did not annoy you, right? For those few years in back, you are still keeping with us.
We're still, yeah, we're here. Hug, just hug on stage. There you go. It's only love, only love. But So I'm actually very chill today because one, I don't run the conference anymore, and two, I don't run the team anymore. But there's someone that's really stressed out today. He's like sweating. He's sitting here, and so the person that's going to be running everything regarding developers and startups at InfoBip, a person that I hate very much. Just kidding. Or he hates me now. Nikola Plavicic. Thank you all.
All right, this works. I was very afraid to fall down the stairs when I was coming up, but I didn't. So maybe on the way down. Thanks, Ivan. Thanks, Cizo. Oof, there's a lot of people. Developers, developers. Too soon. Okay, someone got it. Thanks everyone for being here. I met Ivan in Tokyo 2016. I think on a tech event. That's a bit poetic. Unfortunately, my life has gone downhill since, and I'm here now on stage here with you. But in all honesty, it's a huge pleasure to be here. I think we're trying to grow. We had this first launch of the American conference in Miami. As we say at InfoBip, the motto, if you ever come to our office, is we're just starting, right? So this applies also to the Shift conference. Hopefully also applies for you coming here to Shift. After me, you have about 7 or 8 more speakers to do this opening, so I'm going to be very quick. No, just kidding. It's just me. But thank you, everyone. Let's open this conference. Let's have fun. Let's love each other. Let's network. Ivan, I don't hate you, but we'll have to talk. Thank you, everyone. Woo!
Right, ladies and gentlemen, we've already had our intros. We're ready, we're comfy, we're ready for our first session. Yes, we are. Ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to the very first session right now. So, Doom, 30 years of Doom. You know what I'm talking about. You've heard that word many times before. I'm sure you're pretty aware again of our next first speaker as well. Somebody who's an award-winning programmer, game designer, and designer who has actually, his work spans over 130 games, 108 of which have been published commercially. I'm intrigued as much as you are ready to hear really what he has to say. And this is going to be simply a kind of month by month unfolding how Doom actually progressed and unfolded. Let's hear right now. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Mr. John Romero.
Hey everybody, how are you doing? Okay, let's get this thing working. All right, get ready. So I'm going to talk about 30 years of Root and Tear. Looking back at 30 years ago when we made this game, and I'm going to talk about its development from 1993. That was the year that we made the game. We started it and we finished it during that year. So I'm going to be going month by month, and I'm going to go over the technical challenges that we had, and also just the crazy stories that happened during development. So, all right, we'll start a little bit before 1993. The story of Doom actually has its roots starting in December of 1991. Id Software was based in Madison, Wisconsin, which is really far north, for only 6 months. And during this December, John Carmack discovered the next computer by Steve Jobs, post-Apple company, and he wanted one of these computers. It was a workstation. It was really awesome. So he saved up a bunch of money, and he ordered it. And since it was Christmas vacation for everybody, it's just 4 of us. The other 3 of us decided to go somewhere else for 2 weeks, somewhere warm. And John just stayed behind. So the computer was ordered cash on delivery. So John Carmack, who had no car, had to walk through the snow to the bank to get a cashier's check for $11,000 to buy this computer. So the computer arrived and it was totally awesome. John learned how to program it over the holiday break. Objective-C and Next Step were a total dream compared to DOS. And at this time, we played a lot of Dungeons and Dragons. And we decided to explore making 3D games. And we spent 2 months creating a game called Catacomb 3D, which you can see here. And we shipped it in November of 1991. It used texture mapping, which was a brand new technology that had never been used in a game yet. And this was 6 months before Ultima Underworld was released, which also used it. So we decided to make an updated 3D version of a 1981 classic game. It was an Apple II game. It was called Castle Wolfenstein. And we called this game Wolfenstein 3D. And it took us 4 months to start the game and ship the game, ship its first episode, and then 2 more months to add 5 more episodes in a hint book. So we created the hint book on the next computer. We weren't using it for development yet. We were using it just to do layout, just kind of exploring what this workstation could do. And about a month after releasing Wolfenstein, we were contacted by a Japanese Nintendo game publisher called Imagineer. And they wanted Wolfenstein on the Super Nintendo, like immediately. And since we're about to start developing a prequel to Wolfenstein called Spear of Destiny, we just hired someone else, a contractor, to start working on the Super Nintendo version for us. All right, it's November of 1992. And we shipped Spear of Destiny, and we decided that we're going to make another first-person shooter. Although at this early date, the term FPS doesn't even exist. We don't know what to call our games other than just 3D. All right, so we decided to call this new game Doom. And at this point, it's just a word, no logo exists, or even an idea of what the game would even look like. Doom would be our 5th FPS. So the first shooter that we made was called Hover Tank 1, and it was a solid-filled polygon maze. And Catacomb 3D was the second game. It was our first texture map game. And Wolfenstein 3D was our first VGA shooter, 256 colors. Doom, however, would be a huge jump in technology and design. So we moved the company from the 1-bedroom apartment to what was called the Black Cube in Mesquite, Texas. And we were on the 6th floor, Suite 666. So Tom was working away on the Doom Bible, which was an early design document for Doom. He came up with a lot of characters. They had their names and backgrounds, and there's a whole lot of other design stuff in there. And he completed writing this Doom Bible in November of 1992. And this is a page from the Doom Bible that describes a preview of what the game will have in it. Some of these features were not in the final game, like cinematics. But we then took our Christmas vacations again, and we were excited to start making this new game when we returned. All right, it's January 1993. Unbelievably, we issued a press release just as we began starting to work on the game. We basically said Doom was going to herald another technical revolution in PC programming. So this is a list of the features that we expected the game would have, most important being really the last line, an open game, which is all modding. And I was working on DoomEd, which is the level editor, and things were really starting to begin. So we started getting the engine tech working and the level editor DoomEd up on the screen, and Tom Hall, pictured here, he was playing with it, he's offering suggestions, and at this point, Tom's testing the new engine, and he's trying to figure out what the levels would look like. And creatively, it was actually really difficult. All right, so it's February of 1993, and this is Adrian, and he's modeling the Baron of Hell from a sketch that he created. He's doing it in clay. Kevin was creating the Imp in Deluxe Paint 2 on the PC, and when clay ended up being a really bad idea for Monster Creation because of animations and clay tearing, we turned to a Hollywood monster creator, and he made a few models for us. His name is Gregor Punchatz, and he was the son of Don Punchatz. And Greg was a Hollywood monster model maker, and Spider Mastermind was the only Doom 1 model that he made. And it was made with latex and metal, and we needed him for the end boss of episode 3. So we decided that since we're scanning most of our models, why wouldn't we scan weapons as well? So even though we lived in Texas, we decided to get toy guns from Toys R Us. Part of the design of the game was influenced by the movie Evil Dead, so, we decided to put a chainsaw and a shotgun in there too. And this is the chainsaw that Tom borrowed it. Its name was the Eager Beaver, and we kept it in a bowl because it leaked oil. And Tom still has this chainsaw today. The shotgun was called the Tootsie Toy Dakota Cap Gun. It's a really incredible name. We got it at the Toys R Us store close by. And at the same time, we're trying to figure out what the levels would look like. So for our entire lives, the only kind of 3D game levels that we had seen were the 90-degree block walls of Wolfenstein 3D, Might and Magic, Ultima, Wizardry, Midi Maze, Labyrinth, Way Out. You name the maze game, and the maze was all 90-degree walls. There were no examples of anything other than that. So we had to come up with a new way of creating levels that didn't look like Wolfenstein 3D. And John Carmack suggested to Tom to get books about military building construction. So Tom did that, and he got really bored with it because they're not inspiring places to play in. So Tom was kind of feeling burned out. The first level in Doom was called the Hangar, and it originally started like this, with four Marines playing cards on the UAC crate. And this is basically going through a little bit of the level. And there's the Marines, and you were going to start with these other characters, probably AI to move them. And it actually shipped as E2M7. And so this is what Doom looked like on February 4th of 1993. We'd only been working on the game for 1 month. So the tagline, it was Doom like Evil Unleashed. And this is just a tech demo of what the engine could render. So you can see the height of the ceiling is the same. Walls are different though. I mean, yes, there are 90 degrees here, but there's also some angles just to show that, yeah, we can do angles, but like still trying to figure out what levels are going to look like. You can see that the HUD has a whole lot of information, including a bunch of the screen. Not great, but we're still just experimenting with it. But we did have sprites in the game, and you could go around sprites and see the back stuff. This is all within 1 month. All right, so it's now March. It's our 3rd month of actual game development, and something kind of random happened one day. 20th Century Fox offered us the use of the Aliens license. And we seriously thought about theming the game around this license because it totally matched a lot of the ideas that we wanted the game to be like. But then there weren't any demons in Aliens, just alien monsters, and that wouldn't be a new idea. So we just kind of scrapped the concept of using that license after we talked it over for about 30 minutes. But then out of nowhere, disaster struck, and all work on Doom stopped. The Japanese company Imagineer called and they wanted to know, hey, where's our Super Nintendo version of Wolfenstein? We find out the contract programmer had done almost nothing on it. And Imagineer were not pleased. So, yeah, we had to do the Super Nintendo port ourselves. We had to learn the hardware of the Super Nintendo. We had to program it. It was a 65 816 chip. And it took us 3 weeks to finish it. Yeah, we were really fast. Then work on Doom resumed. But it took us 3 weeks. All right, by the end of the month, Don Punchatz, who's a freelance illustrator, he finished creating that Doom logo, and he began to work on the Doom box cover. All right, so it's April 1993. While creating the map E1M2, I created a problem from Carmack's renderer. So these stairs slowed the game, the render code way down. John had to find a solution, so he started reading. He started to figure out what algorithm could he use for this. So he found this white paper from Bruce Naylor about this data structure called a binary space partition. It was originally designed for backface culling of 3D models, but John adapted it for 3D levels to speed up the rendering or the culling. And this totally solved the problem with E1M2 and the rest of the game. We also created our first alpha version that we could send to our few testers that we have, and we're pretty happy to show these people what we were up to. So this is what the alpha version looked like after 3 months of development. So this is on April 2nd. Luckily, we still have these old versions around. All right, so yeah, we basically at this point have 9 little level stubs that we've created. Telling everybody if this gets out, they can all kiss their Doom hint books goodbye. So now you can see there's rolly chairs. Yeah. The idea was that you would bump into them and they would roll across the floor. Picking up ammo, you have a rifle down. Still got those 4 characters as if the game is going to start with all 4 of you running around. And you can see there's a pretty boring silver texture on the wall, and none of the monsters are moving around. I mean, it's only 3 months of work, but it's not really exciting. We're still building spaces to move around in. That's a switch right there. It's not really great. It's just the beginning, and we know that there's still a lot of work to do. Nice blue carpet. So it's not, yeah, this is the military building construction. It's really great. All right, so cement. Let's go to the next one. All right, so now it's May of 1993, and I finally finished working on DoomEd. This is the DoomEd, the editor in Next Step. We use Next Step to develop the entire game, even programming Doom, doing all the map development. Everything was done in Next Step, and I'm ready to start working on levels. So since the military bunker style wasn't cutting it, something needed to be done. And one day I decided I'm just going to solve this problem. And that's when I created Doom's abstract 3D level design style. So I used E1M2 for my experiment. It may not look like much, but this was the first room that I made in this abstract design style. And the final version of this room looks way, way better, but this was just a start. And Tom and the artist, they came into my office and I showed them this room and what it's going to be like, and everyone agreed this is really the direction that we want to go in. All right, so here's a pre-beta of Doom after almost 5 months of work. Still says alpha. It's a pre-beta. We just didn't bother changing the title screen. All right, so you can see that now we're moving into using lighting and making areas dark. We're using stairs. We still don't have AI working on them. They're still standing there, but now you actually hit them and they have collision. See that we have a menu system. We have a font. We're starting to add a bunch of options in. These menus don't even exist in the game anymore. These are just during our creation of the game. Except for these are the actual skill levels that we save with. And this is like the first level. You're picking up key cards now. You have a really high ceiling roof. We have lighting. We're simulating having shadows and everything, opening doors, and disappearing enemies when you shoot them. So you can see, it's almost 5 months. So it's May 22nd. So it's 4 months and 3 weeks. And we're getting cold, it's getting there. It's starting to feel a little bit like a game. Still don't have anything following, but the level's looking better than before. All right, so at this time, we're about halfway through the year, and Chris Lombardi from Computer Gaming World comes over to our office to get a sneak peek, and he writes this really great preview article. That's the only one written about Doom during its development. And also, we realized that we have just way too many biped monsters in the game, and we really need like flying ones. And this was like an oversight by Tom, and it kind of drives him a little further away from the team. All right, so it's August of 93, and Tom decides that he's going to leave id and he's going to go to Apogee Software, where he makes Rise of the Triad. And then after shipping it, Tom designed the game called Prey. So we hired a couple new people to help us finish Doom. We got Dave Taylor, and we hired Sandy Peterson. Okay, it's September of 1993. Dave gets to work coding the automap feature, and Sandy's making level after level. He basically took a lot of Tom Hall's levels that he had made pieces of, and he just finished those levels. So there was already some starting work there. And with all the tech being made during the year, sound drivers kind of took a backseat to the game engine. And the technical hurdle with the sound drivers was that the game was in 32-bit mode, so we couldn't use our old 16-bit sound drivers. So we found a thing called the DMX sound library, and we licensed it. All right, so it's October of 1993. We created a press release version at the start of October, and this is what it looked like. We sent this out to basically journalists so they could check out what the game looked and sounded like. So this is E1M2. See, this is close to the final version. We now have AI moved around and shooting. You're shooting them, and then go through animation frames. And as a secret room, we have secrets in the game. We have lighting effects like the glowy light there. We're still picking up these things like unholy Bibles and gold chests and stuff. Yeah, but it's actually feeling like a game, and nobody had ever seen anything like this before. Texture alignment is not great because the editor did not automatically align textures correctly, so it was a lot of manual hand alignment calculation, such as the textures going up a stairway. Every time there's a new line segment, it restarts the texture offset by 0, so we have to keep on adding the texture offset as we go upstairs. It was painful. But yeah, as you can see, you're going outside into an outdoor area. We have a sky. You're on Phobos of Mars. You have soul spheres, and that's the unholy fire. And then we got ammo for a chain gun. So yeah, you're able to experience secrets and go outside and pick up items and everything. So it was feeling like a game. We wanted to show this off because it actually felt like something that we had not seen before. All right, so that was press release version. We're getting close to wrapping up the game. So progress quickened, and you saw that even in early October, we still had to pick up items that were useless, like demonic daggers and demon chests and other unholy items. So I decided to just get rid of all those things because they made no sense to the core of the game. And earlier, I removed the concept of having lives, like you would die and lose a life. I just got rid of having lives because it was enough to just start the level over after you died. You didn't need to like restart the whole game. That was another arcade era design staple just bit the dust. All right, so now it's November of 1993, and it had to be just about the most insane month in development. What we got done this month was the first high-speed multiplayer game mode was created for the FPS. The word deathmatch is created along with that mode of play. Co-op mode is created. All final systems are coded into the game, the intermissions and everything. Serial codes created for modems so people can connect to each other that way. All the maps are modified for co-op and deathmatch play. And we had basically forgotten that we needed to add multiplayer at the end of October. And we're like, oh wow, we need to add multiplayer to this game before we ship it. So we had to hurry up and add it. So the day before Doom was released actually happened to be a really important day in the United States. Violent video games was a topic that was hotly debated in the United States Congress. Games like Mortal Kombat, Night Trap are shown as examples of the moral level that games have sunk down to. They had no idea. So the next day, on December 10th of 1993, Doom was going to be released. So we worked 30 hours straight to get Doom ready for launch, but we found one final bug. When we left the game running on all of our computers, some of them would look like they locked up. So the menu could be brought up on the screen, but the 3D gameplay would just freeze. John Carmack thought about it for a few minutes, and he figured out what the problem was, and he fixed it. And we did some more tests, and the bug really was gone. And that bug was in the game from the first day we started making the game. All right. So we could finally upload the game. The download servers, they were just flooded, and they went down twice in 30 minutes. The game was quickly moved to many other FTP mirrors, so everyone could get it faster, and Doom was finally out into the world. Not moving. There we go. All right, it was finally uploaded. After Doom was released, the world changed. 3D games were here to stay. Shooters have dominated the industry for decades, and it's one of the most popular genre of game today. Game modding is incredibly popular, with many important game franchises that came out of modding, such as Call of Duty, Team Fortress 2, Portal, Counter-Strike, and many others. Speedrunning was now possible with gameplay recording and playback, and multiplayer is now a staple of today's games. And free-to-play, which is how we distributed Doom, as the most popular business model of our times. So I'd like to thank those who took the journey with me and made it all possible. It couldn't have happened without these people at that time and with the support of the fans of our games. So thanks for letting me tell you the story of how Doom was created. Are we doing Q&A?